Hello everybody and welcome to the latest edition of the Rewatch Project of Hannah and Mike. I am Mike and with me as always is Hannah. How are you this Saturday evening?
Still broken.
Excellent. Okay, good to know. Your days of being infirmed coming to a middle is...
I don't even think we're at the middle.
Oh, come on, I'm sure they're peaking. But yes, we are back. We are in the wonderful world of Babylon 5 Season 1, where we are covering episode 19 of Season 1. Hannah, tell us about the episode we're going to be watching and discussing tonight.
Well, I would do if my phone recognised my face. Okay, so tonight we're talking about A Voice in the Wilderness Part 2. Synopsis says, Earth Force Captain Alice Pierce and an alien race both lay claim to Epsilon III, the planet which Babylon 5 orbits. The revolt on Mars continues, leading to many casualties.
All right, so we're in the second part of a two-parter.
And again, directed by Janet Greek and written by JMS.
Yeah, we're theorising in the last episode that this was all shot in one go, and I'm pretty certain that is the case. Before we get on to that, though, a quick bit of housekeeping, just a reminder that we do appreciate feedback, which you can leave here on the channel, or alternatively, you can email us at rewatchprojectpodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out our friend shows, including Chinstroker vs. Punter, The Good, the Bad, and the Odd, Talk Without Rhythm, and Film Bastards, and also the other film, TV, music, and general pop culture-related goodness that cohabits this here channel. So if you do listen to us as a podcast, just know that we also have a YouTube channel where there's some stuff that is not on the regular podcast feed. Also, likes and subscribes if you consume this podcast on YouTube. Very much appreciated, as are donations via PayPal. If and only if you can afford to do so without causing yourself any financial hardship, though. So, Hannah, any feedback before we watch the episode?
Sure. The coolest of cool daddies commented on our last episode, I just finished Claudia Christian's memoir, Babylon Confidential, and it seems JMS was no stranger to sexual harassment. You right? What do you know?
Yeah, I've read her book. It's no, he asked her out on a date, or he took her out for dinner, and she realised halfway through, oh shit, this is a date.
Oh, okay.
And there was a bit of sort of awkwardness there. But I think we're much more aware of the idea of power balance now. I think the idea of bosses or showrunners courting people who work for them is something that I don't think was really that frowned upon. But now, when you look at it, that's not a good thing.
No, it's complete imbalance of power.
And it can be innocent. People might not even realise that. But I think fortunately, we're more cognizant of that sort of stuff now as well. But again, not to minimise anything that may or may not have happened. I'm saying this based on a very old memory of reading a book.
And to me, we don't know. Yeah. Thank you, Cool Daddy. You also go on to say, on part 1 of the episode, the lady at the console at the very end of part 1 going, it's big, in brackets, that's what she said. I would have liked to see her reaction when Stinky and Swamp Rat meet. And then he's put spoiler for the next episode, which is the one we're covering tonight. And it's not really. It's just a little bit of information, which I think is fine to tell you before we see it. He says, I think in part 2, when Londo is flying down to the planet, and when he was with Adira in Born to the Purple, are the only times we see Londo truly happy.
Okay, we'll have to look out for that.
So yeah, we'll wait and see. Thank you, Cool Daddy. I really appreciate your feedback. You are keeping this broken woman going.
You are. You're keeping the flame alive. More of that, people. Now that we're regular again, as it were.
Yeah.
We're eating our bran flakes. But okay, so we're going to hit pause. We're going to watch A Voice in the Wilderness Part 2, and then we will return and tell you what we thought of it. And we're back. So we've just finished watching A Voice in the Wilderness Part 2, the 19th episode of Season 1 of Babylon 5. Hannah, initial thoughts on this episode?
I love this. I thought it was... I like where they cut the first episode. So this episode really does hit the ground running. And it's, And
they've got new problems.
Yeah, they do. And new characters, and it's stressful and interesting, and there's plenty going on. I hated Captain Pierce. Thought he was an absolute douche.
He's such a mansplainy kind of, I'm just going to do things my way. And a very realistic character, because we've all worked with people like that, people who come in, barge their way through things, and you say to them, don't do this, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work, and they try to blame you.
And then they need you. Yeah. And are like, well, why aren't you supporting me?
Well, the thing is, I've had so many times in professional situations where I've said to somebody, no, we can't do this because this. And they're like, well, I want you to do it anyway. And I was like, okay, but you've been warned.
Yeah.
And then it'll go pear-shaped. And then they'll come back accusing me.
I can't believe this and this happened.
And it's just like, what it's done is it's turned me into a serial documenter.
Yeah.
Like, most jobs now have CRMs, where you keep a track. The amount of conversations where I'm like, right, okay, I want to timestamp this one, just so I can be like, actually,
That's very much it. As you will see from the email below.
As below. Ooh. And I've always felt like a D-bag when I do that, but you have to.
Well, yeah.
Because the alternative is just to,
you just get blamed for it otherwise. Yeah.
But like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to as below you. It's just it's just the way it is.
I thought it was a really good example of kind of how the military works. Like, they can be absolute douche nozzles to each other in 1 minute, and then the next be sort of having a firm handshake and a very well done, see you back on the battlefield kind of. They do ultimately follow a chain of command, and when Captain Pierce is told, actually, you've overstepped and Commander Sinclair has, jurisdiction.
He adheres to that and
he
apologises.
Goes, really sorry, this is your turf, see you later.
And it's a reminder, of course, that, Sinclair comes from a military background.
Yeah.
So he's still readjusting to being a diplomat, because it's a little bit like, and again, to use, mundane work analogies, it's like when people swan in and make suggestions but don't have the full context.
Yeah.
Like this guy's like, well, we'll do this. And Sinclair's like, this is really complicated. We've got a diplomatic situation here as well. Our whole job, that we eat and sleep and just live is to maintain this diplomatic balance.
Yeah.
And you can't just barge in as though that doesn't exist.
No.
And I think that this episode is a really great example of the Sinclair having to just deal with a bunch of bullshit subgenre of Babylon 5 episodes.
It's also a bit like when you get someone new come into a group of people who are working on a project, and like an existing project that you've done for years and years and years, and you get one new person who goes, hey, why have we not been doing it this way?
And you're like, do you think we haven't thought of that?
My young friend. Yeah. There's like 59 reasons why it's not going to work that way.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things where it's good to have those perspectives, but it's when it's clueless.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to say, hey guys, you're the experts here. You've spent a lot of time on this. You've probably thought of this, but I have to ask, blah, blah, blah. But it's when people come in, like,
let's try it anyway.
They are coming down from the mountain with this gift of knowledge.
Yeah, of course you haven't tried it this way. You're nowhere near as intelligent as I am.
By Gump, who'd have thought? But any other broad thoughts on this episode, Han, before I give my opinion?
I did think Londo looked very happy.
Oh yes, yes, he did.
I liked how, I don't know who it was saying whoever's flying, was it Ivanova saying whoever's flying that craft is a maniac? Yeah. And then it obviously cuts to Londo, and it's like, it just goes to show another string to his bow, which was great. I think the only thing I thought in this episode is that I really felt like Jakar should have been in it.
I just don't think there was room.
No, I know why he's not.
I can't think what they could have taken out.
I know why he's not, but I sort of feel like, given how closely he stalks Londo to track his movements and stuff, he would have known that Londo was on that craft.
Also, where I think Jakar would have come into it is, He's very much an opportunist. So if there was this kind of chum in the water around this technology and rumour was spreading,
he would have known.
It feels like Jakar would have been on the vanguard.
Yeah, and that's not something I noticed first time round, and I think because there was just so much going on. But because I knew the storyline, it gave me that space to kind of reflect and go, actually, I think it's a misstep that Jakar's not in it. But I understand why, because there is so much going on.
I agree with you, but I don't think it's a misstep. I think.
Well, that's probably the wrong word. I think it missed opportunity.
Yes,
maybe,
absolutely.
A better phrase.
I mean, I'm sure that would have come up in the writers' room.
Yeah,
but I think it was just like, well, what do we take out? You know, because there's quite a lot.
And how does he add value?
Yeah, exactly. But any other thoughts?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I really like this episode. I think that the thing that's really interesting about it is a little bit like the earlier Psychor episodes. And a little bit like some of the episodes where we've seen some of the, free Earth, or not free Earth, the sort of Earth for Humans stuff. This feels like, and I won't spoiler anything, it feels like this episode is a bit of a test run for some ideas that are going to be explored more fully later.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't go into any specifics about what they are, but I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Like the Mars stuff, for example, is in there ostensibly to give character beats for Garibaldi.
Yeah.
But what it's also doing is it's thickening the fabric of the universe of the show as well, and giving you a sense that there's this tension between Earth-born humans and Mars. There's a kind of racial or
xenophobic.
Tension between them, but also the fact that there is this feeling of this sort of colonial complexity to that, but also
it's so relevant that like awful chatter from that douchebag at the bar. Like, how often have you heard that in various
contexts?
Like mainly on Facebook.
And it feels also like there's several examples, and I think you even get this the first time you watch it, of ideas being brought up and then kind of pocketed for later use.
Yeah.
I think that obviously they don't really explain what the Great Machine is. There's a couple of mentions that
when the time is
when
right,
the time is right, which is a phrase
that
gets used a lot in Babylon 5.
Yep.
There's references to Sinclair needing to be there, and
that his destiny lies elsewhere.
Not going in the machine. There's that. Yeah. There's also the reference when they were talking about Londo getting all excited and being like, it feels like he's rediscovered something in himself that he thought was lost. And I think Delenn says that might not be a good thing.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for, or something along those sort of lines. And that also feels like, a portent.
Well, be careful what you wish for, and patience being a virtue are two very key themes of Babylon 5. Yes. Good things come to those who wait, endings, resolutions, explanations, all of that stuff is very much to do with this show.
Yeah, and this idea that a formerly strong person becoming re-emboldened, that can be destructive.
Yeah.
And dangerous as well.
How that can play out, yeah.
But what you also see is, in this episode, is the tension between Babylon 5, almost kind of as a nation state, versus Earth Force. So it's a little bit like kind of America and the United Nations.
Well, they're very much not seen like they're on the same team.
Well, they talk about the Babylon 5 Advisory Council
in
this episode a little bit, and it's almost like they're a governing body. So I think
they are very much the UN.
What this episode does, I think, is it really defines the structure of elements of the Babylon 5 universe that we've only seen kind of out of focus.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
And it really zooms in. The other thing I really liked about this episode was it just felt like a fun kind of rompy action adventure. You know, the spaceships getting shot at and lasers and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was great. And just like the tactical stuff around, you know, bringing the defense doors down and how they were sort of combating stuff.
It does that stuff well.
Things.
You know,
yeah, it does.
The space combat stuff, it's not just doing, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica or any of those 60s, 70s and 80s ones. It feels like Babylon 5's very much got its own flavour. And it does feel very much like Earthbound, like warships and carrier jets. You know, the technology feels very relatable and kind of, you know, greasy and electrical tape. You know, it's got all of those sort of things.
Yeah, very much.
I just want to see if just want to have a quick look at the notes and see if there's any sort of key beats I want to highlight here.
I had to love Garibaldi kind of muttering about what a stupid name Franz was at the end.
Yes.
I thought that was just a lovely touch because like he's very understanding and you know, right on
but
when
human.
he's on with his ex. But yeah, just shows a bit of human vulnerability, like fucking Franz.
Yeah.
You know. it just really
friggin' Chet. Let's see. We also get some stuff about how obsessed Earth has become with acquiring alien technology.
Yep.
You know, that's an interesting point as well. And that ineffectual senator as well, who pops up loads, just turns up and he's like,
well, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, that's all he ever says. He pops up and he's like, well, I can't. And he's like, well, what
can you do?
Well, yeah. Just tell me what you can do and I'll just come to you for that.
Yeah. And that, like, it also, like, not just the obsession with getting alien tech, but that having one up on all the other races, like being the first to everything and being the strongest and the deadliest and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
And we also get some really good Sinclair just being a great boss moments in this episode. Like when he goes to see Garibaldi and after he's beaten up that guy in the bar, and then later on when he manages to get Lise and he's like, I've got her through for you. I'll be available to talk afterwards if you want.
Yeah.
You know, he's just really good with
and
boundaries.
How he, you know, I mean, he's essentially given Garibaldi a death sentence by implying he's to stay on the ship if it all goes south.
Yeah.
But saying, get Ivanova off.
Because he knows she wouldn't go.
Yeah.
And basically, he's basis
and he knows that out of Ivanova and Garibaldi, she's the one with the future.
Well, that's the thing I like about it is it's not because she's a woman. It's basically just because she's young, and it's almost like it's a waste of resource. It's like she's got more of her career ahead of us than us, so she's more valuable.
He's the jaded alcoholic that's been given a last chance to be on B5 and like make something of himself.
Yeah, there's part of Garibaldi, you get the feeling that he'd quite happily go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
You know, if he
Whereas
thought that,
she does have her entire career in front of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets that as well. There's no pushback from him. He's like completely on board.
Jeff, man, you know what you're doing. You might have pie in your beard, but you know what you're doing. So basically, it's a doomsday machine. They've got 48 hours. The planet's going to blow itself up. It's this ancient defense. And of course, the other alien race turn up laying claim for it as well. But we learn that they're kind of outliers. You know, they're the
shitteels of the race.
Yeah, they're the kind of like the alienated people from that race. I like the scene where it's Londo, Dral, and Delenn. And he's like, one of us won't return. And as an audience member, you're like, oh, I wonder which one. Will it be one of the two regular cast members or the dude who appeared in the show?
The dude who keeps talking about going to live in the stars.
Yeah. I reckon. I think they're priming the pump.
Yeah.
We hear about, Londo says that, you know, he promised that as a young Centauri, he'd die honourably. And he sees this, a bit like Garibaldi, I guess, as an opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah.
So Dral finds, you know, meaning and purpose by going into the machine. And we get the, until the time is right, a phrase that will be often used in Babylon 5.
Yeah.
We learned that, things are still going pear-shaped on Mars. And I like the fact that you get a quiet scene, probably in a weird way, maybe my favourite scene of the episode is the bit where Garibaldi's just out kind of contemplating things and looking at the stars, and Delenn comes and talks to him. And JMS is always really good at matching up characters you wouldn't expect to have scenes together, and just seeing what happens because the actors are good and the writing's good. Mira Furlan can just make any dialogue sound like poetry.
And she's just great with anybody.
Yeah, she's just one of those people who can just do the chemistry. And Jerry Doyle, who plays Garibaldi, is just he feels so relatable.
He does.
He's one of those actors where you just want to go out for a beer with him.
Yeah.
Or
a glass of water.
Well, a glass of water, yeah. Actually, it'd be waters all around these days.
Yeah.
Either that or we'd all just fall off the wagon together and just end up being like
absolute debauched night.
It'd be kind of like, that's it. Start in a restaurant, end up banged up abroad. And so they say that Sinclair's destiny lies elsewhere. Londo has discovered something inside himself they talk about as well, as some things are best left buried. So, and then my last note is Franz. What kind of name is Franz? I wouldn't be surprised if JMS got wronged by a Franz at some point.
Yeah, they had to get it in there.
And feels like...
It sort of does feel a bit personal.
Yeah. I've got a couple of spoiler things I want to get to, but before we do that, any final thoughts?
No, just a solid second half to the episode. Very much enjoyed it. I think the season is really picking up the pace, and we've only got 3 episodes left, so we're getting to the really good stuff now.
We are. It's a dangerous place.
Shall I tell the listeners about the next episode before we do spoilers? Okay, so the next episode is number 20. It's called Babylon Squared. The synopsis says, Babylon 5's immediate predecessor, Babylon 4, suddenly reappears after mysteriously vanishing 4 years earlier. It is directed by Jim Johnston and written by J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like a big one. So we will do some spoiler talk in a moment. Quick reminder that we appreciate feedback. Leave that here on the channel. Yes. Come on, Mark. Or alternatively, you can email us at rewatchprojectpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our friend shows, donations via PayPal if you can afford to do so. But if you have not watched Babylon 5 before, we will say farewell now. Goodbye.
Bye.
And we're back. So obviously, the whole Sinclair thing, we know why. He can't be there. The whole time is right thing is they're saving that for the Shadow War.
I also, looking back, like one of the reasons I think that the alien presented himself to Sinclair and Drell is because they both got that Minbari soul. Yeah. So, there's some kind of connection there.
And also, I think one of the final scenes of Babylon 5 is Garibaldi going home to Lise.
Yeah.
So they're setting up, like, literally the final scene of the show.
Absolutely.
In this episode as well. Yeah. So I like the fact, and I'd forgotten about it because I didn't realise it. So that through all the shit that he goes through and all the awful things that happen, ultimately, Garibaldi gets a happy ending at the end of the show. Not at the root card. I don't know what you might say. I mean, he might as well, but that's just coincidence.
It says a lot about how much my husband knows me, that he knows exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah. There are no happy endings here, at least not on camera.
That'd be a really different channel if we started doing that.
It's like, in addition to spoilers, it's like we
have the OnlyFans.
Yeah, we've got the non-spoiler section, the spoiler section, and then the happy ending. Jump to 3501 for the happy ending. Subscribers only.
Yeah, that's not happening. My back can't take it.
That's all right. I can self-serve. it'll be like my Elvis reaction videos. It'll be it'll be just me. Yeah, yeah. I can see my thumbnail now. Just add a little graphic here.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff foreshadowed in this episode. You've got a lot of obviously Londo getting a little bit too full of himself.
Yeah,
is an element which will present itself as well. But also, crucially, the idea of Babylon 5 becoming a free state and going up against Earth Force. That this is what I was alluding to earlier on when I talked about how it feels like they're trying out ideas that are going to come back later and sort of like preface them. And I think it's perfect because the name of this season is Signs and Portents. And, a portent is a kind of, oblique warning of something to come.
There are so many things that I don't remember. So, like, I think you are kind of, like, because you've rewatched more than once.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that you're picking up and going, oh, well, that's because of this and that. There are so many things that, like, because full disclosure, I've only watched this through in its entirety once.
And that's a few years back.
Yeah. It was before lockdown, wasn't it? So, I'm having to sort of dredge up quite a lot from my memory, which is not good at the best of times. There's a lot that I'm really keen to see how it plays out or hinted at and reminded of things as it goes along.
And the other thing as well, that watching this first season again now, in the context of, the entire show, and to go back to the whole idea that this season's called Signs and Portents, is it feels very much like it's a preface, like a prelude.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the shadows and all of that stuff doesn't really start until season 2. So it almost feels like this entire first season.
It's a prologue.
Is a prologue.
Well, and then season 5 is an epilogue.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So it completely makes sense.
Yeah. Anything else before we finish up?
No, just bring it on.
All right, that's just for now. And the next one is a real banger as well. It is.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's one of those ones where it makes virtually no sense the first time you watch it, and then there's I think War Without End, a 2-parter in season 3, is where you actually get the other perspective on what happened, and it gets explained. But I remember the first time I watched Babylon 5, watching Babylon Squared and just being like, what the hell was all that about?
Yeah.
And I watched it with my friend Dan, who had watched all the first 3 seasons at this point. Because when I first started watching Babylon 5, it was near the end of season 3 in real time.
Right.
I did the Breaking Bad catch up. So I was watching it just like 3 or 4 episodes a night, every day, and then caught up at the end of season 3, and then season 4 was the first season I watched in real time. But I remember Dan saying to me, just trust for show, and you'll be fine and you'll get paid off. But cool. All right, that's just for now, guys. See you again soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.